By mental L, you and S papabler. You think the enemy is your circumstances, your lack of resources, your bad breaks. No, the real fight is in your head. That's where every victory is won or lost. Your mind is the battlefield. And until you learn how to win there, nothing in the outside world will change. When your mind says you're done, your body obeys. When your mind says, I can't, your body collapses. But when your mind says, we're not stopping, your body will find a way to push, to fight, to go beyond. The moment you control the conversation in your head is the moment you become unstoppable. Most people will live their whole lives avoiding this fight. They numb themselves with comfort. They hide in routine. They avoid it. It makes them question their limits. And they tell themselves it's normal to avoid pain. But here's the truth. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you kill a piece of yourself. You choose to stay exactly where you are while life passes you by. The world has convinced you that feeling good is the goal. But feeling good is not the same as being good. Growth doesn't come wrapped in warmth and softness. It comes wrapped in discomfort, in sweat, in failure and doubt. You think you're protecting yourself by avoiding it. But what you're really doing is weakening yourself. Comfort robs you of the grit you need to survive the storms that will come. And they will come. This is why discipline is the only thing that separates the unstoppable from the broken. Motivation, forget it. Motivation is fragile. It shows up when life feels exciting and disappears the second things get hard. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline gets up before the sun when your body aches and your mind is screaming for more sleep. Discipline laces up your shoes when no one's watching. Discipline works in silence, stacking victories while everyone else is still negotiating with their excuses. But to be truly unstoppable, you have to make peace with pain. I'm not talking about just enduring it. I'm talking about respecting it, learning from it, even seeking it out. Pain strips away the lies. Pain exposes who you are when there's nowhere to hide. You can pretend to be strong in comfort, but in pain, the truth comes out. Pain isn't there to destroy you. It's there to mold you, to turn you into something sharper, tougher, more dangerous. Every time you run from it, you rob yourself of the transformation it offers. When you lean into pain, when you make your training ground, you learn that it has limits. And once you find those limits, you can push past them. That's where the next version of you lies. But here's the problem. People don't train their minds for hardship. They train for things to go right. And then when life hits them, they crumble. The mind, like the body, needs call-looses. And call-looses aren't built in comfort. They're built by facing the cold, the rejection, the failure, the humiliation, and showing up again the next day anyway. Every time you choose to endure something difficult instead of avoiding it, you're adding a layer to that callus. And over time, you stop breaking down so easily. The storm comes, but you've been in storms before. You've built the armor. You've built the resistance. You don't crumble. You hold the line. The truth is, quitting isn't an accident. It's a decision. People like to pretend they had no choice, but quitting always happens in the mind before it happens in reality. You start to tell yourself the pain is too much. The goal is too far, that it's not worth it. And once you believe that story, your body will follow. The unstoppable don't negotiate with that voice. They expect it to show up, but they don't feed it. They built the habit of endurance, of going one more rep, one more mile, one more day. They've trained themselves to keep moving forward, not because it's easy, but because it's the only option they accept. Being mentally unstoppable doesn't mean you never feel fear. It doesn't mean you never feel doubt. It means you've decided those feelings don't get a vote. You hear them, but they don't dictate your actions. You move anyway. Every single day is a test. A test to see if you'll follow your feelings or follow your commitment. A test to see if you'll choose comfort or growth. A test to see if you'll be just another person who talks about what they want or the one who's actually willing to do what it takes. When you understand this, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You stop waiting to feel ready. You realize readiness is a lie. You'll never feel fully ready for the challenges that will truly change you. You have to step into them anyway. This is what being mentally unstoppable is about. Live in a way that refuses to be held hostage by your own mind. Training it every single day so that when the hard moments come, you don't flinch, you don't run, you stand there and take the hit, and then you move forward. Because here's the truth, no one wants to hurry. Life isn't going to get easier. You can pray for an easy life, but it's a waste of breath. Life will keep throwing weight on your back. The only thing you control is how strong you get. You either build the strength to carry it or you get crushed under it. You want to be unstoppable. Stop waiting for someone to hand you strength, waiting for motivation to show up. Stop waiting for the pain to end. Start building a mind that can carry you through anything. Wake up earlier than you want to. Push harder than you think you can. Put yourself in situations where failure is a real possibility, and then fight to win. Stop chasing easy. Chase the version of yourself you haven't met yet, the one who's forged in fire, one who laughs at the things that used to break you. That version of you is real, but you'll never meet them in comfort. You'll only meet them in the struggle. You'll only meet them when you're deep in the fight, when your lungs are burning, your muscles are shaking, and your mind is telling you to stop. That's the moment you have a choice, and that choice will define you. So when you feel like you can't go any further, Take one more step. When you feel like you can't handle 1 more ounce of pain, hold on for 1 more. The voice in your head says, quit, answer back with try hardy. You want to be mentally unstoppable. Then stop asking for it to be easier. Start demanding you be stronger, because your mind is your only true battlefield. It's the place where the war's fought real long before your hands touch the work or your feet hit the ground. Every obstacle you encounter begins as a thought and emotion, a whisper inside your head trying to convince you it's too big, too hard, too impossible. The body doesn't decide to quit on its own. It listens to the orders the mind gives it. And if your mind waves the white flag, your body will collapse without a fight. But when you decide deep in your mental core that you will not stop, your body will follow those orders with relentless obedience. It will find a way to push when it's tired, to dig when it's empty, to endure when the pain feels unbearable. This is why the strongest bodies often belong to the strongest minds. It's not because they were born with some rare gift, but because they have trained themselves to win the invisible battles. The ones that happen in silence, in the dark, in the moments no one sees. When the voice inside screams for you to slow down, they answer with a roar that says, go harder. They've learned that the mind is not a fixed forest. It's a muscle that can be built, stretched, and forged through struggle. Every time you push past the point where you want to stop, you strengthen that muscle. The mind shapes how you see the world. 2 people can face the same challenge. One sees it as a wall, the other sees it as a ladder. That difference comes from mental conditioning. If your mind is trained to focus on the problem, you'll find reasons to fail. But if it's trained to focus on the solution, you'll find ways to adapt, to fight. This is why mental warfare is everything. Before you can lift a weight, run a mile, build a business, or survive a storm, you must first convince your mind it's possible. You must train it to be calm under pressure, unshaken by pain, immune to fear. Because the moment your mind breaks, the battle is over. But if your mind holds the line, your body will keep moving. Even when logic says it should have stopped long ago, comfort is the silent killer of potential. It lures you in with promises of ease, safety, and satisfaction, but beneath the surface, it strips away your resilience, your hunger, and your edge. The more you seek comfort, the weaker you become, because comfort demands nothing from you. It doesn't test you, and it never forces you to face the truth about your limits. It allows you to coast through life without resistance, but in doing so, it robs you of the strength you could have built through struggle. Growth does not live in the warm embrace of comfort. It lives in the raw, unpolished moments of discomfort. It lives in the early mornings when you'd rather sleep, in the extra reps when your muscles are on fire, in the decisions that force you to face uncertainty instead of hiding from it. Discomfort is the forged character is shaped because it strips away the lies and forces you to confront what you're capable of. Every time you step into pain, every time you willingly face adversity, you prove to yourself that you can endure more than you thought possible. Pain and adversity are the gateways to strength. They are not obstacles meant to keep you from your goals. They are the very path that leads to them. When you avoid them, you avoid the very experiences that would shape you into someone unrecognizable from the person you are today. Each hard moment you embrace adds a layer of toughness to your mind and a layer of steel to your spirit. The more you run toward the things that make you uncomfortable, the more you realize that fear and pain lose their power over you. People discipline is the armor of the unstoppable. It is the shield that protects you when your willpower fades, when your emotions shift, when the excitement that once fueled you burns out. You can't rely on motivation. It's a fleeting spark that shines brightly for a moment and then disappears when the work becomes heavy. Motivation is like a guest that visits when times are good, but discipline is the unshakable companion that never leaves, even when the road gets dark and the weight feels unbearable. Discipline stays because it isn't built on feelings. It's built on commit. It doesn't care whether you feel ready, whether weather is right, or whether you woke up in the mood to give your best. Discipline does the work when your feelings say quit, when your mind whispers that you've done enough, when the easier option is right in front of you. It shows up in the early hours, in the late nights, and in the moments when no one is watching. Discipline is not about doing what's convenient. It's about doing what's necessary. It's the quiet, consistent choice to honor your goals regardless of the resistance you face. Each act of discipline is a brick laid in the foundation of your strength, and over time, that foundation becomes unbreakable. Without it, you're at the mercy of your moods, but with it, you can keep moving forward no matter what storms come your way. It's built in the small decisions. Waking up when you promised yourself you would, finishing the task when it's easier to leave it half done, sticking to your plan when distractions tempt you to wander. Each of moments trains your mind to obey the band of your commitment rather than the impulse of your emotions. Discipline is what allows you to endure when the world throws obstacles at you because it turns action into habit and habit into identity. When you are armored with discipline, you are no longer dependent on external factors to dictate your effort. You carry the power to keep going inside you, and that power cannot be taken away. Pain is the most honest teacher you'll ever have. It doesn't sugarcoat the truth or hide reality behind comforting lies. When life hurts, it's revealing the exact areas where you're weak, unprepared, or avoiding grow and limit. It's a mirror that reflects your fears and your vulnerabilities with brutal clarity. Pain doesn't pretend. It delivers the lesson directly without soft edges or gentle warnings. It forces you to confront what you'd rather ignore, and in that confrontation lies the opportunity to transform. When life hurts, it's showing you exactly where you need to grow. That sharp sting of failure, that heaviness of loss, that ache of pushing yourself beyond what you thought you could endure. Those moments are not punishments, they're signals. They point you toward the parts of yourself that need to be strengthened. They skills that need sharpening, the resilience that needs building. Every painful moment is a training ground for the future battles you don't even know are coming yet. Most people run from pain because they mistake it for danger, but pain is not the enemy. The real danger is what happens when you avoid it. You stay fragile, untested, and unready. You protect yourself from discomfort in the short term, but in the long term, you rob yourself of the toughness you'll need when life inevitably hits harder. Pain is the process through which weakness is burned away and strength is forged. And only those willing to lean into it ever experience that transformation. Leaning into pain means not only accepting it, but welcoming it as part of the journey. It means understanding that every second you endure something uncomfortable, you are building armor for your mind and your spirit. Suffering becomes the weight you lift in the gym of life. Each repetition adds power, endurance, and confidence. The very thing that once threatened to break you becomes the reason you're unshakable. Pain is not there to stop you, it's there to prepare you, to sharpen you, to carve away the parts of you that can't survive at the next level so that only the strongest, most resilient version of yourself remains. The mind must be callous to endure the storms. Just like the hands of a laborer grow thick and tough for years of gripping tools, the mind develops its own protective layers when exposed to hardship again and again. Life will not spare you from setbacks, from moments that threaten to break your resolve, from days when the weight of it all feels unbearable. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to build those mental caluses, to strengthen the very core of who you are so you can withstand what others cannot. Every setback, every hardship, every rejection, they are not signs that you should turn back. They are the resistance you must push against if you want to grow. Just like in the gym, the weight must be heavy enough to challenge you, to tear down the fibers of who you are so they can rebuild stronger. When you treat these moments as reps for your mind, you stop seeing them as punishments and start recognizing them as essential training. The more you face, the stronger you get. Each time you endure discomfort, instead of fleeing from it, you add another layer to your mental armor. Each time you stand back up after being knocked down, you reinforce the belief that you are unbreakable. Over time, the same storms that once shook you to your core become nothing than background noise. The hits still come, but they no longer have the same power over you. A calloused mind doesn't happen overnight. It is earned through consistent exposure to difficulty. It's forged in cold mornings and lonely nights and battles fought when no one is watching. It's built by refusing to quit when quitting is the easier, more comfortable choice. The process isn't glamorous, and it isn't supposed to be. It's supposed to test you, to strip away the soft edges, to make you weatherproof. Because when the storms come, and they will, only those with calloused minds will still be standing, ready to take the next step forward no matter how fierce the wind or heavy the rain. Quitting is a decision. Endurance is a habit. No one truly quits by accident. It starts a choice in the mind, a surrender to the voice that says you've had enough, that it's too hard, that it's not worth the fight. That decision can be disguised as logic, wrapped in excuses, or justified by circumstances, but at its core, quitting is always a conscious act of letting go when you could held on just a little longer. Endurance, on the other hand, is built through repetition, through the countless moments when you could have stopped but didn't, when you could have turned back but chose to push forward. Every time you choose to keep going when it's easier to stop, you strengthen the habit of resilience. It becomes part of who you are, a default response to adversity. Instead of searching for the nearest exit, your mind automatically searches for the next step. This habit isn't born from grand gestures or massive victories. It's forged in the small, unseen battles. Finishing the workout when you're exhausted, holding your focus when distractions pull at you, staying the course when the results aren't showing yet. Endurance grows quietly, almost invisibly, until one day you look back and realize you've carried yourself through storms that would have broken the version of you from years ago. The habit of endurance means you stop waiting for life to get easier and instead prepare yourself to get stronger. You stop measuring progress by how fast you reach the finish line and start measuring it by how many times you refuse to stop along the way. The choice to endure rewires your relationship with difficulty. You stop seeing obstacles as signs to turn around and start seeing them as invitations to grow. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to prove to yourself that you can outlast whatever stands in your way. And the more you stack these moments, the more unshakable your belief becomes that there is no situation, no hardship, no test that you cannot endure as long as you refuse to give in. The mind is where every battle begins and ends. Before your body takes a single step, before your hands do any work, before you even face the world outside, you are already fighting inside your own head. The conversations you have with yourself in the silence of your thoughts will decide whether rise or collapse. Most people never understand this truth. They think their limitations are physical, that their failures come from lack of talent, lack of resources, or bad luck. But the real enemy is the voice inside that tells them they can't, that they should stop, that they've done enough. Once you let that voice win, everything else falls apart. But when you refuse to bow to it, when you command your mind to push forward no matter what, the body will obey and you will discover strength you didn't know existed. The world sells you comfort as if it's the prize worth chasing. It tells you to take the easy road, to avoid the struggle, to protect yourself from pain. But comfort is the silent killer of potential. It lulls you into a soft, safe existence where nothing challenges you and nothing forces you to grow and nothing sharpens you into the weapon you were meant to be. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you trade away a piece of your potential for temporary ease. You weaken your spirit without even realizing it. Growth does not live in comfort. It lives in the early mornings when your bed feels warm and your eyes are heavy, but you get up anyway. It lives in the moments when the weight feels too heavy and your muscles scream for you to stop, but you push for one more rep. It lives in every decision to embrace uncertainty, discomfort, and pain. Those are the moments that shape you into something more than you were yesterday. The difference who keep going, those who fall away, isn't motivation, it's discipline. Motivation is an emotion and emotions are unstable. They change the weather with your mood, with the events of the day. One moment you feel unstoppable, the next you feel empty. You can't build your life on something that fragile. Discipline is different. You doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're sure if the world is against you. Discipline shows up anyway. It gets out of bed when the alarm goes off. It does the work no matter how tempting it is to stop, and it follows through on the promises you made yourself when you were clear-headed and strong. Discipline is the armor of the unstoppable, the shield that blocks the excuses and the weakness that try to creep in when things get hard. But discipline alone is not enough if you fear pain. Pain is the most honest teacher you will ever meet. It doesn't hide the truth. It doesn't sugarcoat the lesson, and it doesn't give you shortcuts. When life hurts, it's revealing the exact place where you need to grow. The sting of failure, the heaviness of loss, the discomfort of pushing beyond your limits. These are not punishments. They are invitations to rise. Most people run from pain because they mistake it for danger. But the real danger lies in avoiding it. Avoid pain long enough and you'll stay weak, untested, and unready for the storms life will inevitably bring. Respect it. Let it burn away the parts of you that can't survive at the next level. Suffering is not a wall meant to block you. It's the fire meant to forge you. To survive the storms, your mind must be calloused. You cannot go through life expecting it to be gentle with you. Every setback, every rejection, every failure is another rep in the mental gym. You push against the resistance, and over time, you build strength that no easy day could ever give you. A calloused mind doesn't crumble when the winds pick up or when the weight of the world presses down. It holds the line. It's not built overnight, and it's not built by avoiding hardship. It's built by facing the cold, facing the loneliness, facing the weight, and doing it over and over until it becomes your normal. When you reach that point, what used to break now barely makes you flinch. But all of this comes down to the choice you make when things get hard. Quitting is always a decision. It doesn't sneak up on you. Choose it. You tell yourself you can't go any further, that you've done enough, that it's not worth it. The moment you believe that lie, the fight is over. Endurance, on the other hand, is a habit. It's the result of choosing again to keep moving when it's easy to stop. Every time you endure one more step, one more rep, more day, you are wiring your mind to survive anything. You're teaching yourself that no matter what life throws at you, you will still be standing when it's over. Being mentally unstoppable doesn't mean you don't feel fear or doubt. It means you've decided those feelings don't get to decide what you do. You acknowledge them, but you move forward anyway. Every day you're faced with the choice between comfort and growth, between quitting and enduring, between listening to the weakness in your head or following the discipline you've built. The mentally unstoppable choose growth, choose endurance, choose to fight. They don't wait for the perfect conditions because they know those conditions will never come. They know readiness is an illusion. The only way to be ready for the hardest moments of your life is to train for them before they arrive. Life will never stop testing you. It will never stop throwing weight on your back, wine in your face, and walls in your path. You can either pray for an easier life or prepare for a stronger mind. One leads to disappointment, the other leads to power. The storms aren't going to stop coming, but if you build your discipline, embrace discomfort, lean into pain, callous your mind, and refuse to quit, there will come a time when no storm can touch you. You won't be the same person who started this journey. You'll be harder, sharper, stronger, and hungrier. You'll know that nothing outside of you has the power to break what you've built inside. And once you become that person, you'll realize that there's no limit to how far you can go because you've become the person who does not stop